Hi there, I'm Vicki Parfano from Vicki Parfano Studio and Aussie Stampers. I've currently just been finishing off some of the work on my whimsical dolls, and I'm going to be putting together another art journal page today. I have already shown you how to make this journal here using the Dylusions Journal by Ranger, and I'm going to do another page with a couple of these. I haven't decided which I'm using yet. I'm just finished with my drawing and I'm now going to decide where they go. So the pages, if you haven't seen it, this is the Backgrounds Journal that goes with the Dyalog Journal, but I'm actually using it in a Webster's notebook, and I have a lot of traveller's notebooks that I really like. So I want to find a page that will really go with the girls that I have here to work with today. I don't know that I'll use all of them. I might just use one or two. And in fact, this page seems to be a good mix for these two in particular. So I think I might use these. These are the two I think I'm going to work with today. I'll save this little one here, this little sweetheart, for another time. But I think that looks pretty good, and I think this is a good basis. Now, I really like working with these journals because the backgrounds are already done for you, and you don't have to do too many layers, although you could do a bit of spritzing. You could add a little bit of sparkly spray and get some nice sheen into the backgrounds if you wanted to. You could add some paint, you could add some inks, you could do all kinds of things to build this up even more if you wanted to. Add a bit of dimension with some modeling paste. Today I'm going to work on doing some doodling on the page, and I'm also going to bring in some stamps. Now, I found a couple of stamps here. These are by Kaisercraft, and I just love these sayings. So I often have a gratitude journal on the go, and I thought, well, these sayings really suit a gratitude journal. And I've got two little pictures that I want to illustrate here with some doodling around the edges, and I'll just do easy doodling. But let's have a look at this. Yes, I do like this. I don't particularly want to use that flower. I just want to use the images here. So let's see how they're going to sit on my page. And what I plan on doing is I want to emboss these with black embossing powder, and I want to draw some lines around these as a frame. So let's see how this one's going to work out. I kind of like that arrangement. I think it's not too bad. I could have all the sayings at the bottom. Oh, I quite like that actually. I hadn't thought of doing it that way, but I think this one might work nicely. Or we can have something here, put the frames together. I like that, with two words under that one word under this one. Yes, I do like that arrangement. I think that's the arrangement I am going to go for. All right, so let's get started on the embossing. I want to emboss the words first so that I know that they have turned out okay. So that works really well. Okay. And first thing is an embossing powder tool. So this is an embossing buddy. This is from Stampin Up. Ranger have a powder tool as well. Whatever powder tool you have will work. Okay, now I'm going to stamp with the Versamark Inkpad. It's a sticky ink, and I'm going to get this straight. And your embossing powder goes right on top. And dump the powder onto the center of that. Not bad at all. I'm going to give it just a little more of powder. Sometimes it's worth tipping this on twice just to make sure you've got good coverage. And if there's any little spots, just blow them away, or if you have a fine paintbrush, you can do the same with a fine paintbrush. So I'm just going to bring that in. And a little bit more. I've just blurred that top part of the L, so with my finger, that's better. So you see, you can give it a lot of coverage. If you give it a lot of coverage, it seems to give a better result. Sometimes people think, oh, I don't want it to be any thicker than that, but in fact you want it nice and thick. That's a really good coverage now. It's easy to read, and that's exactly what I want. Now I'm going to put this to one side because I'm going to reuse this for the next one. And I'm going to get my heat gun and heat it up before I take it to the page. So you know when it's ready because it's going to get this lovely glossy effect. Now I'm going to continue with the next two. So there's all the embossing done. Now it's time to adhere the little drawings that I've done. Now I've coloured these in Copic markers, and I've just used a Express It cardstock, and I find that's great for blending. You want something that looks like this on the back when you're finished, if you want a really good blending card for your markers. I have outlined all my drawings with a Copic Fineliner, which is, in this case, this was a 0.1 I think I used on these. I'm going to use the 0.25 to bring in some more doodling in the back of this. I might actually doodle some hearts in here to go with the arrows so that it speaks to the pictures. And then I just coloured them in various colours with my Copic markers. And I added some Jelly Roll pens in clear just on the eyes. I don't know if you can really see if the camera's going to pick up the sheen on it. I've just added a bit of sheen to their eyes and just to various parts of the drawing. This one in particular has the same sort of thing in her eyes, but that's showing up better on camera, that, because it's a paler colour. You can see how it's shiny there, which is why I really wanted to have the black embossing. And I'm going to adhere those now with some Tombo Multi Mono Liquid Glue. You could also use some sort of a gesso or whatever you like to use in your art journal here. I'm going to make sure I take it right to the edges so the edges don't curl up. And I'm going to put a block on there so that, or two blocks even, to let it adhere properly, and then do the next one. I do love working in these journals. They hold up very well to all kinds of mediums, watercolour paints, acrylics, gessos, modelling paste, all sorts of things that really work very well with these journals. And I'm going to place another block on this one. And I'm going to let them dry and come back and show you how that looks. So they're nice and dry, and if you're wondering how to do these sorts of skin colours, I'll link that to my Copic colouring video I have of how to blend your skin colours. And now I'm going to finish off with some doodling. So I'm going to start with some frames for my pictures. I want to frame them up. So I'm using a black 100 Copic marker. You could use a black Sharpie for this if you wanted to. And I'm just going to do some really rough, sketchy frames. So I've finished with those frames. As you can see, I've done nice, big, thick frames. And I've also used this fine tip pen, which is my Multiliner 0.25 or you could use a fine tip black pen of any kind here, just to do these little hearts. I've just sketched a few hearts, just doodling them really, so that they tie in with the arrows and that the hearts speak to the hearts in the drawings that I've done. And I'm pleased with that. I'm calling that done. I am going to add some Nouveau drops just here and there in a purple, just put a few drops here and there, but I'll do that off camera because they do take forever to dry and I'll leave them to dry overnight. But basically that is the journal finished. Unbelievably blessed, incredibly grateful, so very thankful. And I call my layout done. Thanks so much for joining me today. Come back and I'll have some more for you next time in my art journal of whimsical dolls. Bye for now.